right now, these months, March, April, they are still part of what in Ukraine is known as mud season, or Rasputitsa, this word that comes from a Slavic description of practically something melting or completely disappearing. So we all have seen those pictures from the East Front of the Second World War with the Wehrmacht trying to advance and being stuck in 1.5 meters of mud or so, and it makes offensive operations very difficult. So right now, this could be one of the reasons for why the Ukrainians are holding on to the city of Bakhmut as adamantly as they are. They know that this is not a moment to give up terrain to the Russians easily. They are being helped by the weather conditions, or rather the quality of the soil at the moment, and they are buying themselves simply time as this Western equipment is now arriving in quite large quantities, and hopefully once the ground will be firm again somewhere in mid-May, the Ukrainians will be ready for a large counteroffensive, and here the Polish arms and the other Western arms will be absolutely crucial. So the Poles, they also know that for geopolitical reasons they have to stand by Ukraine here. If many people assume that Vladimir Putin would go for a very limited military operation on the 24th of February, if he would attack at all. It turned out that the attack came from 4 directions, from Crimea, from the Donbass, from the area around Sumy, and this part of where Russia borders with Ukraine, right next to Belarus, or where all these 3 countries, you could say, border with each other. And then the 4th direction, simply from Belarus, going straight down for Kiev, that short little run of 150 or 170 kilometers or so, which they hoped would make it possible for them to take Kiev in those famous 3 days, which
they thankfully failed quite dramatically to do.
Absolutely. But it showed that they went for the full price, so to say. They wanted to decapitate the Ukrainian government. They wanted to put a puppet government in place. And then what is most likely is that they would have taken control of Ukraine to even a higher degree than the control that they have of Belarus today. And in such a scenario, we could expect this conquered Ukrainian state, if not completely annexed by Russia, then it would serve a similar role as the Warsaw Pact countries, the Soviet satellite states, did during the Cold War, or even in some tighter constellation. So we could definitely expect the Russians to be completely in control of Ukraine's foreign and defense policy, and we could expect the Russian military to be stationed in bases in Ukraine, and especially along Ukraine's border with the West. So in such a scenario, we would have Russian military bases around the city of Lviv, right next on the border with Poland. It looks like Belarus has been taken up in the Russian sphere of interest to such a degree that it's unlikely that the Russian army would leave Belarus after this war. So in such a scenario, we would also have Russian military bases around the city of Brest or Grodno, these border cities on the border with Poland. And then, of course, we have Kaliningrad in the north. So Poland would be not fully encircled, but more or less on half of our borders, we would have the Russian army, giving them a very good tactical position for any attempt at a surprise strike, making it much more difficult for Poland to defend itself, and especially defend itself for long enough for NATO allies to appear in large enough numbers.
Adam, as usual, the clock in the corner of the room has defeated us, so I'll have to ask you to pause there, but we'll pick it up next time. There we are, as usual, defeated by time, but fear not if you join us next time, as we hope you will. We'll pick up the story here on Poland Daily History. In the meantime, thank you for watching and see you next time.